Biden pardoned Hunter Biden. And Republicans, I've seen one of two responses, really. They're either like, we knew it, or, oh my God, how could they do this? When you get into the actual merits of the case, like, yeah, he should be pardoned. And if this was in fact Don Jr., I would probably advocate for the same thing. No, I wouldn't probably. I would advocate for the same thing. The reality is the case was on tax evasion and a gun charge for lying on a federal form. A couple of things. One, he had already paid all the money back that he owed in taxes. And the DOJ has had a long-standing policy since like 2014 that as long as that money gets paid back, they're not prosecuting you. You have to do some serious tax evasion. That's really been the move of the DOJ, and that was an Obama administration order because it was just tying up the courts. So they charged him for this, and the gun charge, which he lied on. It was not used in any sort of crime, or there was no aggravating factor. He just lied on the form. They charged and prosecuted him for these things, and the jury that convicted him was like, "Yeah, we convicted him, but we didn't think it was that serious. We just that's what the law says, I guess." And it's not something that's really prosecuted to that degree. What I'm seeing in response to that from that argument from Trump supporters is really like, oh yeah, so Biden can get away with crimes, but Trump can't. Severity of crime, right? There are bad things, and there are worse bad things. Attempting to overthrow the United States government, keeping classified documents in Mar-a-Lago, those things are more serious. See how that works? Than a clerical error.
And they have ongoing repercussions too.
Right, and they put people's lives in danger. It's not just a simple, I think that was the actual. I think that was the right move, just from the perspective of he should have been pardoned. And none of them are complaining about Donald Trump's pardon. He pardoned all of his friends. He pardoned Charles Kushner, who is now going to be the ambassador to France. So I'm not really sure. And that was way more egregious.
Quid pro quo is only bad when it's Democrats, right?
I guess it's and this double standard's really been highlighted throughout Trump era and Trump. Trump is now saying that he is using it as a pretext to give out pardons en masse to people.
It's ironic, isn't it?
He already said he was going to do it, and Trump said he was going to pardon Hunter. So Donald Trump said he's going to pardon all these people. He said he's going to pardon Hunter Biden, and then when it happens, he's like, "That's why I'm going to do it." So that's a logical fallacy called post hoc rationalization, right? Because he didn't have a rationale before, and now he has a rationale. He's applying a rationale he did not have when he said that to that. So there's that. Rudy Giuliani, did you see what he said?
What did the fat rat himself say?
So he goes on to say that there's no precedent for handing out blanket pardons like this because Trump totally never did that. And I'm fine with him challenging that. I'm totally fine with him challenging that if he wants to challenge a blanket pardon, because it only stands to hurt Trump. That's just a fact. It only stands to hurt Trump. If Trump can't give out blanket pardons, well, you better find the specific crimes these people were pardoned for. So...
it is ironic. Some of the detractors, including Giuliani himself, Dinesh D'Souza, amongst others, either pled for or received pardons from Donald Trump during his presidency. I remember in the tail end of Trump's tenure in 2020, this was a story. Giuliani was asking Trump for pardon, amongst other people.
Do you remember when Giuliani went around selling pardons?
Yes.
Yeah. So, he went around trying to take in millions of dollars for pardons. So I'm not really sure what he's complaining about here. It's just the Republican mantra of being outraged about everything for every reason. The reality is Hunter Biden should have got this pardon. I wouldn't have had this problem if it was Don Jr. anybody. The reality is the only reason that Hunter got prosecuted in the first place was because the DOJ didn't want to seem like it was one-sided. That's the only reason. And it was very clearly political. If he did not have Hunter Biden as his name, he would not have been prosecuted. Period. Point blank, period. I mean, we watched over and over again these corporations get caught and brought to court for, killing endless people, and they get away with the criminal penalty and get to walk everybody in the corporation. Boeing, right? When their planes started falling out of the sky, and it was very clear, like, this is negligent as hell, reckless even, nobody went to prison. The 2008 financial crash, nobody went to prison. So you're going to tell me you're going to charge Hunter Biden over this? I really think like the justice system is just completely whack. It's hard to make sense of it and to justify it really anymore. You have people like Donald Trump that very clearly broke the law, walking because they were able to just push this out and he can run for president. You have people like Hunter Biden being prosecuted and convicted because he has Hunter Biden's name, you know? And let's just take a little inventory of who Donald Trump has been proposing comes into his administration.
And who he's pardoned. I think it was announced over the weekend, Kash Patel for the head of the FBI. Loyalists, donors, billionaires, criminals, people he's pardoned. Literally fucking Charles Kushner is now on the roster of people he's appointing.
And we're going to get into that later, but yeah, Kash Patel straight up came out and said, we're gonna weaponize it and go after people. We're gonna weaponize the DOJ. I thought you guys complained about weaponization of the DOJ for 4 years. I thought that did you not sit there and complain about the weaponization? Now you're outright saying we're gonna weaponize the DOJ to go after people. And the thing is, like, you know, we've talked to a lot of Trump supporters. None of them have a really good reason as to why Donald Trump didn't commit these crimes. When you put it in its totality, if anybody but Donald Trump had done what he did on January 6th with the documents, what he'd done in Georgia and various other states, they would be in prison right now. They would be denied pretrial release. Mm-hmm. But because it's Donald Trump, I guess.
Right, and you'll notice, and you'll see it here in the comments too, it's already happening. They'll say, W pick, what a great pick this person is. Not based on merit, not based on experience or qualifications or anything like that, not based on prior jobs that they've held, just that they've been appointed by Trump. And that's what automatically makes them a good pick.
Right. And I think
I could be fucking picked tomorrow and they'd say, Dubs for Trump.
I know. Do you notice how like there has been more contesting who Donald Trump has picked in the last month and a half than we have in like the last, I don't know, 50 years.
Right. People have already withdrawn their nominations.
Right. And like it usually doesn't take that much to get someone to withdraw their nomination. Like, oh, if this person doesn't have a clean slate, if there's an issue. But Republicans are very clearly playing by a different set of rules. And the Democrats are just like, oh, we're going to uphold and upkeep. And the Republicans are like, nope, we're going to tear it all down. We're going to create some weird government agency that's not government. Like, we're going to do that. So this whole thing is backwards. And then you have Hunter Biden get pardoned and these people lose their mind. I'm not understanding. It's just like this. It's this bizarro contradiction of persecuting people is wrong, but also we're going to do it. And it's that, really is that self-victimization drive. We've talked about it. Fascism is built on vapid contradictions. And this is one of them. Kash Patel, I don't know. Is he qualified? Maybe. He's not like a Pete Hegseth type of guy. He's not like a Matt Gaetz type of guy. He has some qualifications, but how he's planning on weaponizing this department is disturbed. And also, Christopher Wray is still the FBI director. And Christopher Wray, despite being a Republican, to his credit, has done a pretty good job, all things considered. I know that there's some problems there for sure, but he's no Kash Patel. He's no, wild-eyed fanatic. And
this really does need to be a question, a two-pronged question, I should say. One part being whether or not they're qualified, and two, whether or not they're going to be a loyalist, whether or not they're going to be acting as a wing of the president or as a wing of a constitution. And right now, these picks lean largely on the behalf of the president here.
Yeah. So I think that I really think that the deal here is the Senate is probably not going to replace Christopher Wray. Why would they? Mm-hmm. Why would most Republicans opt to replace him with somebody that is very clearly trying to weaponize the DOJ. I think that when was Christopher Wray appointed? I meant to look that up in the pre-show.
2017.
So he'll be most of the Trump presidency. So yeah, I mean, he's not a fanatic. He's not great, but he's certainly no Kash Patel. So I think that you know, the problem for this whole thing, there's so many issues with Donald Trump being able to just pardon people and give people like Kash Patel power,
Hmm.
right? To do whatever he wants, to act in any capacity. And those people can just walk. And with the immunity decision, it adds a whole new layer of complication to whether or not someone's acting in or out of their duty, basically giving the Supreme Court the ability to throw away whatever they want.
Right.
Um,
And there's
but in
no
this instance,
impartiality to it.
right? And
Impartiality.
in this instance, though, Kash Patel's not. I mean, he's just not. Does he have any? I know he worked in the Secretary of Defense's office or something like that as a deputy director. But in terms of like criminal investigation work, I don't know that he does. I have a wild belief system about what's going to happen in the next few years here. I think
Hmm.
that all of this ignorance, all of these picks that don't know what they're doing is going to create complete chaos. And we see what happens when there's chaos and when there's not a clear picture. I think that the United States is going to get hit with multiple terrorist attacks during the Trump presidency, probably big ones. I think it's almost certain. The
Oh yeah.
inefficiency that they're going to create, because this is really where
Hmm.
it breaks down is the communication. And if there's no communication between the higher ups, because the lower people that are lower than them are just like they're not listening because they're out dealing with whatever. It just puts us at a higher risk. And I think that's a more than a fair assessment that if we don't have qualified people there, regardless of their political party. But back to the initial thing of this, Joe Biden, pardon Hunter Biden, and if you're a Republican, cry. Got to take wins when you can get them,
Yeah.